It began in 2014, in the charming, affluent town of Westfield, New Jersey. The kind of place that looked like it belonged in a Hallmark movie. Just 30 minutes from New York City, Westfield had a population of 30,000, mostly professionals with young families. Its tree-lined streets, old colonial homes, and quiet neighborhoods made it seem like the last place anything sinister could happen. Derek and Maria Broaddus had been searching for the perfect home for years. Derek had recently been promoted to a senior vice president role at an insurance company in Manhattan. Maria, a Westfield native, was thrilled to be raising their 3 young children in the town where she grew up. And then they found it, a stunning 6-bedroom colonial at 657 Boulevard. The house was stately and historic, built in 1905 with a grand staircase, leaded glass windows, and a large front porch perfect for summer evenings. It was everything they had dreamed of. It cost $1.3 million, a stretch for them, but this was it. Their forever home. They never got to live in it. Just days after closing on the home, before they had even moved in, Derek went to the house one evening to check the mail. Among bills and flyers was a plain white envelope, addressed in unfamiliar handwriting. The new owner. Inside was a typed letter. Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard. Allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. The letter started off oddly polite, even old-fashioned, but within seconds, the tone changed. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s and my father in the 1960s. Now it is my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out. Derek was frozen. It got worse. I see you have already flooded 657 Boulevard with contractors so that you can destroy the house as it was supposed to be. Tisk, 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 bad move. You have children. I have seen them. So far I think there are 3 that I have counted. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. Derek rushed home, the letter trembling in his hands. He called the police. An officer came to the house, read the letter, and looked genuinely disturbed. Do you have any enemies? The officer asked. No, we just got here. The officer recommended not telling anyone, even the neighbors, about the letter, just in case one of them had sent it. That night, Derek and Maria lay awake, unable to shake the feeling that eyes were on them, watching from the darkness beyond the streetlights. They had just stepped into something ancient, something obsessive, something that had been waiting for them. And the watcher wasn't done. Days passed. Derek and Maria tried to carry on with renovations, brushing off the letter as a twisted joke. Maybe it was a local prankster. Maybe someone jealous that newcomers had bought the home. But then, a second letter arrived. This one was angrier, more personal. Welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard. The workers have been busy, and I have been watching you unload carloads of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will. The watcher now seemed to be everywhere, invisible and omniscient. They knew the kid's birth order. They referenced the couple by name. And then the letters became deeply invasive, fixated on the children. I am pleased to know your names now and the name of the young blood you have brought to me. You certainly say their names. Often. The Broadduses were horrified. How could the writer have heard them speaking inside the house? Were they nearby? Were they watching through the windows? Had someone planted listening devices? Maria refused to let the children set foot inside the home. They contacted the previous owners, the Woods family, who had lived there for 23 years. They were shocked to hear the story. The only odd letter they had ever received came a few days before they moved out, a note from someone calling themselves the Watcher, welcoming them and asking why they were leaving. They'd thrown it away, thinking it was a joke. The Broadduses were left with an unsettling idea. This wasn't about them. It was about the house. The police investigation went nowhere. There were no fingerprints, no surveillance footage, no witnesses. The Watcher left no digital trail. No emails, no texts, no calls. Only letters, typed on a decades-old typewriter. Derek began staying up late into the night, crouched in the darkened house, watching out of the windows. He made a list of neighbors and began to suspect everyone. There was the Langford family next door. The son, Michael, was a bit strange, eccentric. He lived with his 90-year-old mother and rarely spoke. Could it be him? The police interviewed Michael, but he denied everything and there was no hard evidence. The Broadduses hired a private investigator, then a forensic linguist, then an ex-FBI profiler. They analyzed the letters. The profiler concluded the watcher was likely an older individual, deeply obsessed with the house, someone who felt slighted by the Broadduses' presence. All of it led nowhere. More letters arrived. 657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming back to me. I will be patient and wait for this to pass and for you to bring the young blood back to me. It needs young blood. It needs you. Come back. Let the young blood play again like I once did. Let the young blood sleep in 657 Boulevard. Stop changing it and let it be what it was meant to be. The paranoia began eating them alive. Derek felt watched every moment he was near the home. Maria had recurring nightmares. The kids were asking why they couldn't go play in the new house. They couldn't move in, but they couldn't move on, either. The Broadduses put the house up for sale. But rumors were spreading. Word had leaked about the letters. Potential buyers would come by, fall in love with the house, and then back out when they Googled the address. They considered legal action. They sued the Woods family, arguing that they should have disclosed the watcher's letter they had received. The case was dismissed. With nowhere else to turn, Derek and Maria rented out the house. A family agreed to live there under the condition that if another letter came, they could leave. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived. To the vile and spiteful Derek and his wench of a wife Maria. You wonder who the watcher is. Turn around, idiots. Maybe you even spoke to me, one of the so-called neighbors who has no idea who the watcher could be. Or maybe you do know and are too scared to tell anyone. I am the watcher, and I have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The house is mine. The letter ended with a warning. Maybe a car accident. Maybe a fire. Maybe something as simple as a minor illness that never seems to go away but makes you feel sick day after day after day after day. Maybe the mysterious death of a pet. Loved ones suddenly die. Planes and cars and bicycles crash. Bones break. You are despised by the house, and the watcher knows it. The tenants moved out. The town of Westfield turned cold. Neighbors resented the media circus surrounding the case. People accused the Broadduses of fabricating the story. Online conspiracy theories exploded. Some believed it was an elaborate hoax to get out of an expensive mortgage. The Broadduses were devastated. They were being hounded and isolated in a town they barely knew. Strangers drove by the house, taking photos. Teenagers dared each other to ring the doorbell at night. Internet sleuths tore apart the family's background, looking for cracks. But the police still had no suspect. DNA from the envelope was tested. It belonged to a woman, but no match was ever found. Over time, the case faded from headlines. But the letters never really stopped. 657 Boulevard stood still and silent, as if waiting. People began to believe the house itself was cursed, not haunted by a ghost, but by something much worse, a person. A person who had made the house part of their identity. A person who had buried their mind into its walls. And the town, perhaps, had helped protect them, whether through silence or willful ignorance. The Broadduses were prisoners of a house they never even lived in. By 2019, the Broadduses had finally sold 657 Boulevard, at a massive loss. They never disclosed the buyer's identity. The new owners have never come forward publicly. And strangely, no new letters have been reported since the sale. But the legend of the Watcher lives on. Netflix adapted the story into a dramatized series, but the real events remain unsolved. The case is still open. The identity of the Watcher has never been confirmed. Was it a neighbor, a former resident, a jilted potential buyer, a mentally disturbed individual who had fixated on the house for years? Or was it someone even closer? The story of the Watcher hits at something primal, that violation of the sacred boundary between home and the outside world. That fear that no lock, no wall, no curtain can protect you from being watched. It isn't about ghosts. It's about obsession, power, control, and the terrifying truth that sometimes evil doesn't need a reason, just an address. and 657 Boulevard was chosen.